the core three there though that made it so deadly was the Guinevere, the Nolan for the most part. Like early game snowball potential is really there. So I think for Myanmar, as they go for their last pick, they really need to have a kind of a plan in mind. It's going to be the XP lane, unless this is a crazy flex with the Fredrin. Not sure if that's going to happen though, but the Yuzhong is open. Not sure if they actually want to do that, or maybe possibly go with something we haven't seen yet. I'm just assuming, you know, they go Yuzhong because that's Yuzhong and chaerribang matchup we've seen so many times throughout the Iesf groups, and they go Cho. Okay, so they go the Cho pick, which you're gonna put in the XP. What do you think? Do you think that's good? Do you think this is a good choice?
We did see the Cho yesterday, right? I believe Myanmar versus Thailand. Ruby actually did play the Cho in the XP, so technically we've already seen that before. He was also able to win, but I was against against his composition. There's so much anti-CC, so many dashes. I guess the one member you can go for the pickoffs on would be Nolan. Right now, with the fracture also, no more, you know, CC immunity, no more kind of built-in purify with the fracture. So technically, I see the idea. And especially now that the Cho has been buffed in a way where in the lane, he actually does a lot more damage. That passive had the physical defense shreds. It'll work towards the Roger as well later on in the game. And if you go for these pickoffs, and with the Jiku, it allows you to go for the trades a bit more reliable now compared to before when it was a bit shorter. But I'm not a big fan of the Cho in the XP. I think you all know why.
Well, let's find out here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's game number 2. Match point for Indonesia to move forward and advance to qualify.
Let's go, Indo.
In Rion, all they need is this one win to move forward. Myanmar, can they extend the series to get to the 3 game? We're gonna have to take a look at this exactly because, yeah, like we said, there's a whole lot of purifies here to deal with a lot of the CC that Myanmar has available to them. And look at this, already early rotations happening here for Juno. But you know, one thing too, I'm not sure if anyone's gonna get a kill with this early on with this lineup, but with Ruby DD running, like you said, this kind of new Cho, having that passive, I think it's like 180% is what you get with that bonus attack. But then you have a concussive blast. So I'm wondering how the lineup or how the matchup with even going against a chaerribang performs in terms of like the numbers and being able to stay, or is it just purely I'm going to go and try to get some pickoffs, you know, because right now they're just duking it out. And you can see Luffy also went with the Brave Smite. So once he goes with War Axe, most likely he'll be able to just kind of stay in the lane as long as he wants to. So on mid lane, still Albert trying to find early pickoffs, but I just don't think it's going to happen here until these level 4s, especially that Turtle's still 30 seconds away. But look at this, Ken fighting for his own XP, and Albert will go ahead and just continue on with this.
I think, you know what, hold on. Down below, like pounds, Juno going to be caught in the spatial migration as well. Does have the purify to get out, but the damage is certainly there. Juno will have to respect it by backing away. Back to the Brave Smite. So most chaerribangs that we've seen, especially with the War Axe change, they go for the Impure Rage to get more mana, and then they just go and rely on the sustainability of the War Axe. So the fact that he's doubling down means he's ready for Myanmar's, you know, full-on team fight and the longer team fights. As Albert starts his turtle, Keyboy's hovering over, doesn't have that level 4 just yet, but it has already the shove in that bottom lane, or that mid lane actually. But actual Echo,
let's go.
Migration, Albert with the fracture. Not even, actually, we'll be able to go for it now.
Malah masuk sih itunya.
Albert picking up the first blood. Will be forced to run away, but even then, the retribution slows him down, gives Albert the movement speed to catch back up and to take him out. A 2-0 start for Indonesia.
Man, this is what I was saying even yesterday, Mirko. Like, once Albert gets snowballing on any of the assassins that he picks up, he's going to continue to just be very aggressive. So you got to be, if you're Myanmar, you got to be able to answer this. And that might just be also protecting Ken a little bit more, because that pressure could get a little overwhelming. You're seeing nothing locked in first item-wise yet for both teams, but Indonesia getting themselves already 2K ahead against Myanmar with all those exchanges is where they usually start their games. It starts a little bit slower, they get the advantage going, and then it snowballs out of control. We saw this the last time, like I said, continuously with this lineup, these 3 heroes, the Keyboy on that Guinevere, you have Albert on the Nolan, and of course the CW on the Harith. There's a ton of damage potential that can happen here early on. And for Myanmar, they have tanky enough heroes But, you know, that's kind of what they're hoping for, that we're just tanky and durable enough to deal with the burst damage that can come through. I mean, even look at this. Ken.
Migration again with the violent record straight into the fracture. Zide will be able to get the implosion down. Sans, an implosion as well, not connecting anyone, but Zide will
Oh, pada purify semua, tapi nggak kepake tuh.
for Albert to pick
Mereka sangat santai.
the
Tidak
first
peduli
3
mau ada
minutes of
implosion
the
atau
game. Deja vu to game 1 yesterday, or game 2.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying though? Like Myanmar, they drafted this because they're like, I hope we're tanky enough to go and deal with this
lewat
first,
gitu
but it's
aja
just showing that they're not. And
Lucu
a
banget,
lot
kayak
of that
baru
has to do
pasang
with the
pulang.
way
Hai.
Indonesia is cycling through their CC, and that's whether, and we talked about this extensively in the draft, that Keyboy was probably going to pick up the Guinevere, and I'm surprised that it actually wasn't banned out for the last ban from Myanmar, because it works wonders with this lineup. So now that this turtle's up here, Myanmar, despite them being down already, you know, 3,000-4,000 gold, they do still want to fight for this objective. And as long as they at least, you know, watch out for Keyboy setting up just like that, that's good. They don't get set up, so at least, you know, they avoid it for now, but still they have to win this battle. Echo going to be dropped down too. They get the vision, but still both teams are ready to go for it. It's going to be a full-on fight.
The penalty zone onto Ken now with the implosion as well, locking down Loopy, dealing a lot of damage. Ken will be taken out with just a hammer swing. As CW jumps with the synchro vision. And the frontliners, Juno completely zoned away. They're being overwhelmed by damage. Another spatial migration into the Violet Requiem. Keyboy finding an angle to attack again, and Justin doesn't have mana to play with. Oh no, Astral Recon means that walk fracture. Another lethal ignition taking down slowly but surely. Made away kill under the tier 2.
Ngapain lagi tadi
Now,
Novaranya
most
maju
of the
lagi
steal,
ya?
I
Seperti
don't think we'll be
saya
able to
ya.
do so. Ken has the retribution.
Pengen clear minion demi nge-clear minion
Albert's
sih, harus
already 3 levels ahead.
Oh, awesome. We're going to take a look at this replay here on how this kind of unfolded. And like I was saying, you know, Myanmar, I'm surprised they really do want to go and fight for this, because, wow, that's all in reverse, by the way. So it's all in reverse, I think. But,
Dynamics, bro.
Dynamics, the dynamics. But, you know, as we saw that unfold, it was Myanmar just choosing to fight for that. And honestly, it didn't work out for them the way they wanted it to. And Albert also, with that whole exchange, now picks up the Sky Piercer. And look at Keyboy. Like, this is just how confident Keyboy is with this Guinevere. Given the information, he's the walking ward.
4 level loh ini.
Migration only onto the orange buff. Albert decides to just take it away from Ken. Being 4 levels ahead, it does
Gila, Nolan
look
sakit
quite
ya.
easy to go for these steals, but
Cuman lewat
man,
doang.
the fact that he was... What is up with Albert on the Assassins? It just... Do you remember last game, you know, he played the Baksha, it looked like, okay, he's
penalti zone ke
good,
situ.
but
Enak
with the Assassins, it's a different level entirely. Ruby DD. No, I don't think you can really even go for this. Loopy gonna be able to out-damage Ruby.
Gila Keyboy.
Requiem locking Justin up as Loopy goes into the hammer swing, and Keyboy gets out.
Mana dia berhasil
Wah! Again with the implosion steal to corral them together for that collapse.
Yakin gak deh? Aduh, si
Ruby
Ade.
DD gets slain by CW.
My goodness, just like yesterday. The same thing is happening with this lineup that just has a few changes, but what the heck? Indonesia just pulling forward again. Myanmar, you guys have to understand, Myanmar was basically undefeated in the group stage. They just dominated time and time again, and now Indonesia, even though they lost in the group stage, at this point it looks like they are playing perfectly with this lineup, with this composition of heroes even. And Albert, yet to be killed, yet to be stopped, picks up a Malefic Roar. I don't even know what Myanmar can do at this point. They have to somehow, some way, allow Juno to get online. And this is exactly why I say, man, I don't like Roger in the gold lane. I'd rather have him in the jungle, because it's just so difficult for him to farm up at this point to get the space that he needs to work with. And I mean, you're looking at the disparity in terms of gold. He's also just very far behind CW right now. He hasn't died, which is great, but look at all the setup potential you have with these heroes, and you have no follow-up. If he enters, if Juno tries to go in, even Lycan pounce in, he's probably going to get blown up before he gets a chance to get a hit off. You know, that's the troubling part about having this Roger in the gold lane. And so now you're forced, hold on.
Keyboy going to be locked down, by the way, the Dragon as well, and Keyboy will be locked down by everything in the kitchen sink to get Myanmar their first kill in the game. CW going for the chase though. Tosses him on force, will not be able to fully go for that kill onto Juno, who still has the Purify, but Indonesia wanna utilize this resource advantage now. Ruby waks up again with the Shun Pool. Maybe Albert walking up, deals some damage back onto Ken, forcing him to half HP. Sans deals with them in the back as well, isolating and zoning them away from this tier 2 in the mid lane.
Oh, Sans also picks up the implosion, so we might have to keep an eye on a possible play. Doesn't have a flicker, it went with the Purify instead, but can still possibly use that in a quite a surprising way. You'll have to see it unfold. Taking a look at the items real quick too, you can see them coming into place already. CW has those 3 items working on the next here. Could be a Holy Crystal next, or just going into even some more penetration, because right now there's just too much damage overloading Myanmar. When they get a pick off with Ruby DD, it's great, but he has to do so much work to get it through. So as they try to defend this tier 2 turret, look at this. Albert's just going to go ahead and start up the Lord. He doesn't need the rest of the team to come here. They can just keep this, Myanmar at bay from even entering their jungle. DD, like, just trying to make something happen will just get poked down, and that's just Sans. Sans is 0-0 and 10. It's nearly impossible to get the kill on this Valentina. So with that, Myanmar is going to find themselves once again on the defensive, trying to hold on the best they can. For Indonesia, with the tools they have and the fact that Sans has an implosion, they could possibly force this situation in here. And shields are going to be popped already before that Lord even gets there. Holy Crystal just picked up by CW, so the damage is now even further ahead for Indonesia in terms of potential. Myanmar on the defense.
A lot of battle spells already back up.
Gaming.
Almost decimated there by the fracture. On the 3 Lewat. Again with the engage. Now he's going to put Zaman Force onto the back, doing a lot of damage. Ruby DD will lose his life, and Side as well just gets melted down, completely obliterated under the base turret as Indonesia continues the siege. Now into the top lane. That's going to be base turret number 2 taken down as Lippy zones again with some damage on that hammer, swinging it by Ken. Going to take a little bit of that. Sans again also goes for splash. Albert with the play. Again with the spatial migration into the winter crown as he pops in the battle rep.
Cuma 1 ya mereka ya guys ya.
Udah 1. Kasihan banget. Indonesia.
Aku gak tega ngeliat, tapi ya udahlah, gak apa-apa, yang penting Indonesia menang. Berarti
Berarti
akan Riyadh dong.
Oh man, a clean sweep. My goodness, the ending there, like, I knew that they were very far ahead of America. I knew
bener
that,
nggak mereka dapat Riyadh?
highly likely that
Kalau bener gue mau main nih.
but usually we see teams
Login gue.
be able to clear out the first Lord possibly, and at least buy a little more time. But Keyboy again on this Guinevere. He did it in the same fashion that they did yesterday in the game 2. Exactly, the Winter Crown. And not only that, but he did the same thing yesterday with hitting 3 targets. But this time it was key because as they got more members,